Now it is guest time on this Wednesday, and I'm delighted to be joined by somebody who I met through TikTok. And it is the one and only singer-songwriter Kat Button, whose debut album REFOCUS came out on the 19th of September. It's got 10 tracks telling a story from darkness to the light, from hopeless to hopeful. And she's joining me now. So very good morning.
Hi, Michelle. Hi, everyone.
It's great to finally see you. We met through TikTok when you popped in, and you've made loads of connections. I think you might have known some people in the chat room already. It's a really good mixture of musicians all supporting each other, isn't it?
Oh, it's lovely. I would consider them as really good friends now. There's like all of the people in the chat, they've been so supportive, following on social media, checking up my music, promoting my music, and we all promote each other's, and it's just such a lovely kind of community and almost family, as it were, really. It's lovely.
Yeah, and good morning to all of them out there as well. All of them, I say in little brackets.
Oh,
Right, so let's start the interview. Kat, what is your earliest musical memory?
this is such a good question. So I went to see my mum and dad the other day and we got the photos out. And I remember they showed me this picture, which reminded me of this time when I was two and we had a nursery Christmas show. And we were playing the old tune Jingle Bell. So it's a bit early. Although it's October, it's kind of passable to talk about Christmas. And there were three children beside me with their sleigh bells, and it looked like they wanted the ground to swallow them up. And then there's me with my little sleigh bells, and I am living my best life. And I just remember that so vividly and how happy the music made me. And obviously, it's continued to this day.
Do you remember the first song that you ever wrote?
Oh, don't ask me this question. It's a bit embarrassing. Oh, well, I had a hamster called Snow. I had a hamster called Snuffles, and she was my pride and joy. I was nine, by the way, and I wrote this song because I love my hamster so much. And I remember when I went to secondary school, I think there's this point where we ended up doing a little performance of it on the stage in the school. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. It escalated very quickly, but it was kind of nice to kind of use my musicality slash craziness to kind of get to know other people, to be fair. But yeah, I remember writing a song about my hamster who was my pride and joy,
What
for
was the
sure.
hamster's name?
Snuffles.
Oh, Snuffles. Oh dear. Right. When you start writing now, a songwriting process, are you somebody that, do you sit down with keys or a guitar, or do you get a melody, or do you get the lyrics come first, or is it different every time? How does it work for you?
Well, Michelle, normally I'm very much a lyrics and melody person, but because I have such a hyperactive mind, sometimes I will literally wake up in the middle of the night, say 3 a.m., have this fully formed song idea in my head, rushing down to the piano, try not to wake the rest of my family up in my slippers, and trying to like get the chords down for this piano. So it's usually melody and lyrics, but sometimes I will have a pretty good idea in my head and just need to go and kind of, make the last touches of it really.
Now, you've said this album covers your mental health and neurodivergent journey. So tell us a little bit about that. Were you diagnosed? I know a lot of people now are getting diagnosed later in life and they look back and go, I wish I'd have known this earlier. Was that something that you were diagnosed with earlier? Or has it been as you've been older?
So it's kind of two different things really. So with the OCD, I've had traits of it from when I was, say, six or seven. It made life a bit tricky, but it wasn't debilitating at that point. It all changed when I graduated from studying music at university in 2004. And I was getting ready to do a postgrad in teaching in secondary education, music. And I remember during that summer, Michelle, I felt really mentally unwell. And a couple months later, I received my OCD diagnosis. I got therapy, and that therapy, along with support and help groups and family and friends, and just a community network really helped me. But it seemed like there were still pieces of the jigsaw missing. And it wasn't until last year when I was also diagnosed with ADHD. Now, there are some similarities between the two, but it wasn't until last year when I realized actually, although there are a couple of similarities, there are also some huge differences between them. And I was actually mistaking at times one for the other. And although things aren't easy, it's nice to know that I recognize now what those things were. I know who I am. I'm continuing this healing journey and I'm kind of opening up and being myself and being true to who I am and being authentic.
Just for people out there that might not know, because there's loads of information out there now for ADHD, and it doesn't mean just your child might be running around being naughty. There are so many different sides to ADHD. So tell us about how it would affect you on a daily basis, because a lot of people out there might go, actually, that sounds like something that happens to me. So it's great that you finally got a diagnosis, but sometimes people have just got this narrow window of what they think ADHD is.
Yeah, so there is a huge stereotype for not only ADHD but OCD as well. But with ADHD, I mean, in my other kind of career, as it were, I teach music in the school. And there is this stereotype that sufferers of ADHD are naughty or they're very lively. Well, I would sit in school and I would do all my work and I would focus and concentrate and academically do really well. But mentally, that was where the hyperactivity was. And nowadays, it's kind of the hyperactivity. It's like I will go from a low to a high. Got all these ideas in my head whilst I'm trying to sort out my children, taking them to their clubs. I'm trying to sort out my job. I'm trying to clean, but then get really bored because I thrive on kind of a dopamine hit, whereas I don't like cleaning and I'm also very forgetful. So I'm constantly losing my keys. So, as a romantic birthday present a couple of years ago, my husband bought me some tags for my keys so that I can beep them because I lose them so much. So, I think for me, Michelle, it is a constant battle, internal battle of trying to live life, trying to stay on top of everything, trying to keep all the plates spinning, but mentally being exhausted. Um, and yeah, it's not something that everybody sees. And yeah, it's difficult. I mean, that's why I'm always so mentally exhausted because there is this internal hyperactivity. And for me, I remember a few years ago, I went to a training day and I don't do very well with being bored because I need to have that dopamine stimulation. And I fell asleep. I was known for falling asleep in inset days, not because I was being disrespectful, it's just because I have to do something that gives me that dopamine um, and the endorphins. And with the job that I do and with doing music, there is that sense of things being constantly different and it gives me that interest, it gives me that kind of dopamine endorphin kind of you know feeling as it were.
That has been really helpful because a lot of people out there don't realise it can be an internal
Yeah,
hyperactivity. A lot of people won't understand that. They'll just have a fixed idea of ADHD. So if you're listening out there and that sounds like your child or you know, go and get some help. I mean, there is medication you can take, but a lot of people who've got ADHD don't take anything because it is their secret weapon.
it's interesting because I know quite a few people that have ADHD that don't like the term superpower, but for me personally, my personal experience as a songwriter, it can definitely be a very powerful tool because I've always got song ideas. And as long as I can focus those song ideas into a song, it can be very, very rewarding and a powerful thing. I mean, yeah, I'm tired all of the time, and I feel like I'm struggling to deal with day to day a lot of the time. But musically, I have always got these ideas, and as long as I work on trying to focus these ideas into a structure in a song, it's actually a very powerful tool.
Now, we've talked about mental health and neurodivergence, and this plays a part in your debut album, which is called Refocus. And is this a journey through everything that you've experienced? There's 10 songs, which you're going to be hearing one of the songs from the album a little bit later. So tell us about this album, how long it actually took to get together. You're an independent artist, and I know the amount of work that goes into creating. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, so I have wanted to write about my experiences with mental health and mental health recovery for a very long time, probably about just shy of 20 years, but I didn't feel mentally strong enough to do it. I kept on being triggered. Things changed when I did a mental health in children and young adults course a few years ago, and I found that it didn't trigger me at all. So not only did I get a qualification, I thought, oh, I feel like I'm in a position to maybe share my story in order to a lift the stereotype on what OCD and mental health is, and also to give hope to others that there can and will be recovery, that things can and will get better. And that's really important to know because at the time when you're really struggling with your mental health, it can feel really dark, but there is hope and there is help, and it can and it will get better.
When people put albums together, it takes a very long time to actually do the running order. People sometimes don't appreciate because we get so many singles, but it is one of those things when you create an album. So, is the story starting at the beginning and the end track is Best Years of My Life? Is that
Yeah.
is that how it runs?
Yeah, so I know that in this day and age, not as many artists do albums. I know quite a few do, but it's kind of not seen as something that most artists do. But I really wanted to do an album as a concept album because it is literally, Michelle, like a musical storybook. So it starts at the beginning with track one, which is Begging You to Go, which highlights the reality of what OCD is like, the intrusive, compulsive thoughts, how it's just relentless and really, really difficult. And then it goes through to Anxiety Strikes, which is track two. I think that's one of my favorite tracks on the album because I paid a lot of attention to the production of it in order to create that feeling of actually having a panic attack, especially at the end. And then track three is Alone with My Mind, which is set in the middle of the night because for people, not only those that suffer with OCD or mental ill health, but for anybody that has overthinking thoughts or when their mind rushes, I think one of the worst times for your mind to run away with you is at night when the world outside is calm, but internally the mind is all over the place. So again, I wanted to use the words, the riffs, the ostinatos, the production to really paint this vivid picture of what it's like to be in that situation. Chase and then yeah, chasing my breakthrough. I that was a result of angry songwriting. I don't know if you've ever angry song wrote, Michelle, but it's great. I I had a comment from somebody saying, "Oh, it sounds like it's a song from a musical," which, if that was my intention, it would have been fantastic, but it wasn't. So I stayed up very late, or too late really. I stayed up until about 3:30 on my on an ADHD hyperfocus. That's another thing that I do. I kind of get fixated and hyperfocus on something. So I spent about 6, 7 hours um, rethinking this track and make it into an electro pop song, the song that it is today. And then I think the most important part of the album is CBT, which stands for cognitive behavioral therapy. So it's a form of therapy that trains your brain to think differently. And for me, it was fundamental in learning to deal with the OCD because OCD doesn't go away. You just have to learn to cope with it. And honestly, CBT gave me my life back, and I will forever be grateful to my therapist, um, and the people that I met through having the therapy. Track 6 to 10 are a lot happier, you'd be pleased to know. So there's this real kind of anthemic, euphoric hope in the album. So Happy Place is about being on my way to the happy place, which in my case is music. Track 7 is about, which is Holiday from My Mind, is about being at my happy place. Um, Track 8 is a trance EDM track which celebrates community and celebrates confiding with people if you're struggling. It's so important to reach out if you're struggling, and there shouldn't be any shame, there shouldn't be any stigma about it because it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. So I wanted to do a dance track that really gets that message across. Like it's a party, it's a celebration, it's something that should be celebrated. Um, Track 9, Back to Nature, is a calm moment in the album. It's about going out into nature, just having some time to yourself, being grounded, listening to the birds, experiencing nature in whatever form you're able to, be it at the park, in the garden, watering plants, even watching nature on TV. So it really shows how important and grounding that is. And then track 10, Best Days of My Life, Best Years of My Life, sorry, is defiant. It's like, yeah, you know what? I've made it through the hardship. And although things aren't easy and there will be highs and lows, I have therapy methods and ways of coping with, the highs and the lows. So it was a real act of defiance, how far I've come, and just basically feeling quite proud of myself, actually. And also, best years of my life refers to releasing music. So the last track in the album is about finally, after so long, releasing music out into the wild.
And that's always amazing to play on the show, independent music, where people have taken the time. There's no record company, there's no massive backing. You have to do it all yourself. So people like Kat really sort of concentrate, get the music together. And it is a big ask because there's so much you've got to do when you're an independent artist. And, it really is a lot of steps you have to take to get your music out there. So if you manage to do that, if you're an independent musician, be proud of yourself because you're doing it with no other help. Before we go to the song, Kat, what is your favourite lyric from the album?
Well, I'm really happy that you gave me a heads up on this because if you just asked me now, I'd be like, oh my goodness, I don't know. I think probably track 2, Anxiety Strikes in the chorus, when I sing, Anxiety strikes like a bullseye darts, like a bullet in the heart. Because I think that describes it quite well, actually.
And I'm glad I
Couldn't
gave
have,
you a bit of warning.
couldn't have put it better myself.
And I do like to give people a warning on that one. I think I've asked people that just without a warning, and they're like, why did you ask me that? And I'm sorry, didn't give you any time to think of your own lyrics. Now, we're going to finish with your song. You can find, is the EP on Bandcamp or is it on Spotify and Instagram?
Yeah, the album is on Spotify and Instagram. I'm going to put it on Bandcamp. That's on my to-do list, so I'm I'm going to do that in a minute. So yeah, it will be. In about a few hours later, it will be.
Excellent. So it'll be on Bandcamp, Spotify. I said Instagram, which is where you can find Kat as well. But also what I meant to say is Apple Music. So if people want to find you on your socials.
Yes, so I'm on Instagram a lot, so cat_songwriter. Just be warned though, if you do follow me on there, I am a bit silly sometimes. I think it is important to approach a subject like this with a bit of humor because A, it makes it more accessible. And also it just highlights the fact that I am looking on the other side of this now. I mean, yes, I have good days and not so good days, but things are so much better than they were. So yeah, Instagram and also on TikTok as well.
Mustn't forget about the TikTok. Mustn't forget about the TikTok. So would you like to introduce your track? And also don't forget the album is out now. It came out on the 19th September and it's called Refocus by Cat Button. And please introduce your track.
Oh, I've always wanted to do this. I'm so excited. I've never introduced one of my tracks before. So you are listening to Cat Button on Phoenix FM, and this is track 10 of the album Refocus, and this is Best Years of My Life. Oh, that was amazing. That's like a bucket list moment.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks a lot, Kat. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.